good afternoon again, everybody, and thank you for joining us this weekend. Really from all over the globe, especially want to recognize those folks who have made this a conference really without borders. We've got our partners up at Canadian OI Society, the OIFE, and especially everybody who's hopped on virtually from India, Kuwait, Egypt, I think almost every country in Europe, Brazil, Ecuador, Australia. Hi, Robin. I think we first realized that this entire conference was going to be virtual. No one really knew what to expect. Nobody knew how many people could or would attend. And I think the reality is this turned out to be a blessing in disguise. We found out just how valuable during the welcome session, and everybody could weigh in and ask questions online. We could even address some of them in real time with Dr. Lee, with Dr. Tosi. We've never really been able to do that before. So we're looking into ways that we can make this as interactive and inclusive as we possibly can. Earlier, we introduced the Peace Corps program and watched as folks from all over the country registered even before the session was over, which is remarkable, and we can't thank you enough for that. More importantly, I think members of the OI community, and this is a lot what we heard during the sessions, who may not have been able to travel to Omaha, were able to take part in a multitude of ways, from sessions to socials last night. And with that in mind, we are going to look at ways that we can make this national conference more inclusive on a number of levels. So let's face it, we really have no idea what direction the world's going to take, what way things are going to turn in the coming months. And it's really our job at the foundation to respond regardless. So we're going to do that. Remember, these are the ideas that you've shared with us. You've told us what works best for you, not the other way around. And everybody that's from the staff and the board that's on right now with us, we're taking it to heart. In fact, if you look at the chat section right now, we're going to post it. You can take the feedback survey for conference right now before this closing session is even over. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see different, what you want to see more of. Obviously, in-person social time, that's not something we can really control, but we still want to hear about it. We still want to know what affects you the most and what you think could have the greatest effect going forward. So jump on that link. Erica, I think, has posted it. Let us know. The more we hear from you, again, this is all about you. The more we hear from you, the better job we can do in the future in terms of serving your needs and serving the mission of the OI. So first of all, thank you as if you were participating here in person. It felt like it. This has been an amazing weekend for me, and I hope it's been the same for everybody out there. We have a very, very special message for the class of 2020 coming up. But first, one of the key themes this conference, this weekend that we've heard is really how to help improve your care, your relationship with your provider, and eventually your outcomes. So in the opening session, we introduced you to the OIF's Peace Corps program, Patient-Centered Outcomes Research. For more on Peace Corps and how it's going to help us better understand OI's condition, I want to bring back one of the key drivers behind the program. She's the director of the Bone Health Program and a pediatric orthopedic surgeon at Children's National in Washington, D.C., Dr. Laura Tosi.
All righty. And I'm going to just share a few slides. Which managed to slip to the end. Okay, here we go. So this has been a grand conference, and I can't thank you all enough for your participation. It's been great fun to see old friends, and like everyone else, I so look forward to seeing you in person. I just want to repeat a little bit and underscore a little bit. So we've emphasized, not just in my sessions, but everywhere else, OI is a rapidly evolving story. Our expectations are changing. The natural history, thanks to bisphosphonates, rotting, pulmonary concerns, not always so positive, and new medications mean that what's going on today isn't necessarily what's going to be going on tomorrow. Just being part of this conference, the question set of the projects we need to work on has increased. What exactly is aging well with OI? Dr. Krakow, postpartum hemorrhage. How do we identify that, deal with that, measure it? So many questions. How do we manage bone loss at menopause? What about those tummy concerns? How can we reduce pain and fatigue? And certainly everyone's safety during COVID. How do we develop a strategy that will capture this rapidly changing story, not today, but for the long term? Well, thanks to Tracy and her team, we have unleashed the power of the internet for the OI Foundation and for the OI community. We've demonstrated, or they've demonstrated, I'm not taking credit, for that wonderful things can happen. And I would remind you, and I hope there are a number of people on this call, that you actually unleashed the internet for us now 7 or 8 years ago when we did the adult natural history study. And we already demonstrated just what we can do when everybody jumps in. So not to bore you, but here's some of the data that we brought forward on that. And already we were demonstrating that folks with ANI and folks with OI, whether or not they have mild, moderate, or severe disease, are more likely to have most problems than follow. And we knew problems with shortness of breath, sleep apnea, wheezing, asthma. We knew constipation, hemorrhoids, and particularly heartburn are big issues. Now we need to figure out, so what are the most important questions for the community, and how will we engage the entire OI community in terms of taking the temperature, figuring out what's going on, and clearly, if we're successful, even better, figuring out what works best. So to remind, patient-centered outcomes research is a whole new idea and way of doing research. It's not the doctors dictating what they want to measure. It's you telling us what you want to know. That is incredible. The OI community needs to drive the science, and we're hoping that many of you will want to play a very active role throughout the entire research process. And that means helping us figure out the questions, how to conduct studies, interpret results, and share our findings. This slide is a little long, and I'll only read a couple of things, but PCOR really gets to the nitty-gritty of the individual. Given my personal characteristics, conditions, and preferences, what should I expect will happen to me? What are my options? What can I do to improve outcomes? And how can this healthcare system work better for me? We're working hard to make this work for you. We are offering all kinds of educational training. And please note, we're trying to engage patients, caregivers, clinicians, and researchers to come together as a team. And the long-term goal will be to identify those research topics that the community regards as a high priority. So how are we doing it? I think you've seen it this past weekend. The online education has exploded, ironically, with COVID. We are hoping you'll all join the registry, and we will be in the future doing more focus groups to try to understand and elucidate more issues. To our ask, please consider working with us. Read about what we're doing. It's in Breakthrough. It's on our dedicated website, and we're dying to talk to you. Participate in PCOR training and research. For goodness sakes, sign up for the OI registry, and without a doubt, participate in our surveys and focus groups. So today, please today, make this your to-do list. Register. Even if you registered in the past, please re-register, because we need an updated information about you about the severity of your OI to really be able to understand the answers that we're getting. We will then send you our first survey, and it's all about COVID. And you'll notice that in the tradition of patient-centered outcomes research, there are a number of open-ended questions because we want to know what you consider most important and what we may have left out. For goodness sakes, recruit your friends. And on a personal note, and Cameron's been a big supporter on this, most of the registrants so far are female and Caucasian. Now, I fall into that group. I care a lot about this group. But the fact of the matter is we need to represent America and the world. And we're not all white females in this world or country. So please reach out to everyone you know and try to engage them in this effort. Now, a reality check. We are not going to have answers for you next week. You really have to keep this in the 50-year range. We're celebrating 50 years of the OI Foundation, and I won't be here for the 100th, I'm sure of that. But boy, do I hope we'll have a lot more answers. And please think about this, just like your 401k, this is an investment in the future and in the quality of life of all of our community members. I do want to take a moment to thank the people who have helped make this happen. Our grant is now a year in the making, so to speak, and we couldn't have done it without Mark Birdwhistle, Michelle Dupre, Cameron Penn, who have served as our committee leaders for this project. Tracy has been a huge support, and Dr. Bryce Reeve from Duke has helped us with the academic aspects of this, and I am the pusher. Remember, your voice matters. We need people with OI, parents, family members, caregivers, and clinician researchers to all take an interest in this project in trying to improve the quality of what we know to tell you. Really, that's it. Thus, the most important participant, you. And we look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so very much. We look forward to working with you for as long as we can keep these grants going, and we plan to keep that registry going 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tosi. Look, I would be remiss if I didn't reiterate that I have registered already. I know so many folks out there, even during the welcome session, you registered too. It is about you. It is about expanding treatment options. It is about making the best decisions for your own care, your kids' care, your parents' care, your significant others' care. So do your friends a favor, do your loved ones a favor, take 10 minutes tonight. And that's really what it is. You don't have to take the COVID survey tonight. We do need you to take it, but you don't have to take it tonight. Go to oif.org. It's on the front page. You just click through. It's just that easy. And to show you how this all happens in real time, Irene, Athena, Carrie, Ann, Tess, Carl, Jessica, we will absolutely look into live streaming all conferences from here on out. I know some of you can't make it. It's just not a physical option sometimes. Timing isn't the best. I know the West Coast, it's early. We will do what we can to make this as accessible to everyone. So just so you know, but in the meantime, go on the registry, please. I'm done begging. That's my pitch for the day. One other resource we have coming up in the next couple of months, especially critical for parents. We'll have it available. I believe we're looking sometime in fall. It's the Newborn Toolkit. This kit's going to cover everything from genetics, time spent in the NICU, feeding, bedding, dressing, you name it. Keep an eye on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, for more information. We're going to make it, I believe, as a PDF. It'll be downloadable. You can use it. You can take it to your doctor. Whatever you need, we're here to help you with. So, conference clearly was not the only thing affected this year. The events have also reshaped life for graduating high school and college seniors. This time of year is supposed to be about fresh starts, going from high school to adulthood in your professional life. And a lot of you went through your commencement in PJs. And unless you grew up in the 60s, that's probably a completely foreign concept. That's not even really close to normal. But on the bright side, you did catch up on Tiger King. I know. We all know how strong this generation is and will be. Someone who knows this better than anyone is Mary Alice Bergwissel.
Hi, we can't hear the video.
Congratulations, class of 2020. As Dr. Seuss once wrote, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where to go. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar on to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups will happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much could you lose? How much could you win? These are questions many of us find ourselves asking whenever we are setting off on a new adventure. But the reality is that these are the questions we OIers have been asking ourselves our entire lives. A place we could sprain or break both our elbow and chin? Well, that's just about anywhere. Do we dare to stay out? Do we dare to go in? How much could we lose? How much could we win? The question my dad would always ask me growing up was, is it worth the risk? And to be honest, sometimes it wasn't, but sometimes it was. For instance, during my sophomore year of college, the entire pledge class from my new sorority was planning to live together on the 3rd floor of a dorm on our campus. And of course, I wanted to live with all of my new friends. I didn't want to miss out on a single moment of the fun. And of course, there was no elevator in the entire building. I had gone maybe a couple years without a broken bone, but was definitely still trying to find my way as a college student with OI. I didn't want to be defined by this disorder, but I also knew it would always be part of my everyday life. So my mom pleaded with me not to live in the dorm with my friends. Maybe someone would be willing to break away from the group and we could live on the 1st floor instead. After all, she said, what if I broke a bone and couldn't even get up to my room anymore? And my response to her was, but what if I don't? I actually didn't break anything that year and had a lovely year on the 3rd floor with all of my friends. But I did break something the next year, which was hard. I lived at home for a while and commuted to campus, which felt like this huge loss of the independence I had worked so hard to gain in college. But I also figured it out. There's always a way, as my dad still reminds me. And if we stop and think about it long enough, we can figure this out together. Along my way, I learned that part of the way forward was to try not to let the fear of what might happen make any decisions for me. Of course, this is much easier said than done, right? As people living with OI, and as people who love and care for people living with OI, fear will always be a part of our stories. Fear is like this unwelcome visitor who always pops up when we so desperately want it to just go away. The fear of breaking a bone, the fear of falling, the fear of losing our independence, the fear of COVID-19, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of taking several steps backward when we've worked so hard to move forward, the fear of crowds or slippery surfaces, the fear that one small mistake will have giant ramifications. Fear, in one form or another, will always be part of our stories. But friends, it doesn't have to drive the car. I love what writer Elizabeth Gilbert says about fear in her book, Big Magic. She doesn't try to ignore her fear or hide it. Instead, she makes space for it. She says, I cordially invite fear to come along with me everywhere I go. I even have a welcoming speech prepared for fear, which I deliver right before embarking upon any new project or big adventure. Dearest fear, she writes, I am heading out on a road trip, and I understand you'll be joining me because you always do. Apparently, your job is to induce panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting, and may I say you are superb at your job. But understand this, I am the one who will be making the decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from my activities, but your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat, and you are allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the road maps or suggest detours. You are not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you are not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. Then, she says, we head off, advancing into the terrifying but marvelous terrain of unknown outcome. It isn't always comfortable or easy, but it's always worth it. Because if you can't learn to travel alongside your fear, then you'll never be able to go anywhere interesting. And I think the same is true for us, not only for the class of 2020 in the midst of a global pandemic, but for our entire OI family. We have to learn to travel alongside our fears and to blaze our own trails if we're ever going to go anywhere interesting in this world. The question is, are you ready to get in the car and to set off on your next brave adventure? Starbucks recently did a survey and asked their customers to name what they thought was the most essential part of a road trip. 9% of people who responded said coffee, which of course may be skewed by the fact that the survey was taken at a Starbucks. 11% said that good road trip snacks are a must. 15% said that beautiful scenery was most important. 21% said that good music is the biggest necessity. But the top answer was that the most important part of a road trip is the people who are in the car with you. And that's what I think of when I consider my OI family. You are the people who have been in the car with my family and with me for the last 30 plus years of my life. My family has been coming to OI conferences since 1990. It's where we have met people who have changed our lives and will be forever a part of our story. People like the Antolinis, the Sheridan and Ayers families, the Glousers, the Daverts, the Bunker and Finan families, the Parrots and Pinas, and so many more. And of course, Gemma Geisman, the brave woman who brought all of us together with an article in Redbook magazine 50 years ago. Friends, you are the people who encouraged my parents at our very first conference when I was a toddler and they were completely overwhelmed about what life was going to look like. You are the people who befriended me in childhood and in my teenage years and encouraged me in those Sunday night chat rooms back when we had dial-up internet. You're the people who comforted my parents when I chose to live on that third floor dorm room, or to go on that trip to Brazil my junior year, or to move away from home after I graduated that year. And every time, people like Sue Sheridan and countless others told them that it really was going to be okay. You're the people who have believed in me as a young adult and have challenged me to take that next brave step forward in my own life. And then there's this incredible team of doctors and researchers, not to mention the hardworking OI Foundation staff who have committed their lives to empowering this community. I could mention so many more people, but I especially want to thank Dr. Reed Sutton, who actually grew up in my hometown of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and is now one of our leading research doctors for OI. I believe that this beautiful family of doctors, researchers, staff, board members, families, and countless volunteers is the biggest gift that the OI Foundation has to offer. Because as we all know, the OI family absolutely changes lives. And it has been improving the quality of life for those living with OI through research, education, awareness, and support for 50 years now. And I can only imagine where the road will lead us together as we journey for at least 50 more. Which is why the OI Foundation needs you. We need even more supporters, even more volunteers, even more doctors and researchers, even more fundraisers, even more young adults and senior adults and everyone in between to be part of this adventure with us. Because the people who are willing to get in the car with us, they're the ones who can help us keep our fears in the back seat and who will challenge us to blaze brave new trails as we venture into the unknown together. Friends, can you imagine the places we will go? And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Boxbum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Alley Van Allen O'Shea, you're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Congratulations to the class of 2020 and happy 50th anniversary to the OI family. I can't wait to see where the road takes us and the beautiful places we will go together in the days ahead.
Can't read my mind, I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen's in my hand, ending unplanned. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Put yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. tradition. Sometimes my tries are outside the line. We've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way. No. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window.
Congratulations to the class of 2020. And I don't know how I got so lucky to follow Mary Alice, but I did. I don't know that I can even put that into words. And I met Mary Alice and the Birdwhistle family it's going on 8 years ago, the clan. And for those who haven't had the pleasure, it is an amazing family. And to underscore how brave Mary Alice is, saying no to Martha Birdwhistle is a near impossible feat. So Mary Alice, I give you all the credit in the world. Waco is going to miss you terribly, but welcome back home. Congratulations. Before we wrap up, and good Lord willing, we will be in Omaha this time next year. So mark the weekend of July 10th, 2021. Get your calendars out for the next in-person national conference. And we don't have a drum roll because it is virtual, so we're just gonna go right into this. In 2022, we will be going back to Orlando, July 7th through the 10th, 2022. Yes, we will have back-to-back-to-back conferences, but we will be bringing different elements to each one. So be on the lookout for more details coming soon. We'll be staying at the JW Marriott Grand Lakes Resort. I travel for a living, and this just might be one of the best properties I've ever seen. So if you get a chance to go, would love to see you there. And by then, Orlando should hopefully be back to being the happiest place on earth. Thank you again to the OIF staff, the board, the medical community for an amazing, wonderful weekend. But more importantly, thanks to everybody for their participation. This weekend is about you. So please keep your questions coming, your suggestions coming, chats. We've got all this. We've got so much we need to digest. Again, go back to the survey, the feedback on the chat session. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what we need to do more of. So it's how we improve and continue the mission that Gemma Geisman started 50 years ago. It has been my pleasure. More importantly, it has been an honor to be just a small part of this event. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and good night.